My name is Theavna Subroyan. I am currently a final year law student at the University of Pretoria. I grew up in Durban, and then I moved here in Pretoria when I was 16 years old, and I've been here ever since. And I have always had a passion for social justice as a young age, because I came from a really small town near Durban, and just seeing how people lived, how the dynamics were with people, be it children, adults, male, female, all of that. I always observed it as a younger person, and I thought to myself, well, surely this is not right, and I was really lucky that I had parents, I grew up in a tight-knit brown community, and a lot of people had the same idea on what it was to be a woman, what was it like to fit in a society that was primarily dominated by the patriarchy. And my parents, I was really lucky, never really abided to that, and allowed my sister and myself, us just being the only children in the family, to form our own opinions and see what was right, what is wrong, how you as a woman should battle the patriarchy. And for me as well, it was also joining social media, especially Twitter, where I got exposed to a lot more of not only our own society here in South Africa, but also the international response to feminism and gender inequality, and being shocked but also not surprised, and then also having my own experiences as well, shifting from being a girl to a woman, and still seeing this constant attack on not only my anatomy as a woman, but also a woman in a brown community where they expect you to get married at a certain age, not necessarily go to university, you should never be higher than your male counterpart. And that was surprising, but then also being able to find a community of women who refuse to abide by this idea that men should be above you, and that you should accept harassment or any of that sort because you need to be nice about it. But the sad thing as well is that we have just been seeing the rate of gender-based violence that has just been increasing, and especially now with the pandemic, where everyone's expected to be in isolation, and just hearing all of these cases, like when Cyril Ramaphosa referred to the gender-based violence situation being a pandemic, I thought of it as being like this coronavirus, where the end of it seems so indefinite. And I was very shocked at the fact that there was more of a discussion by government around the cigarette ban than the fact that there are women and children that are dying in this country because of gender-based violence, harassment, and the fact that you can't even rely on the police or any sort of protection from the government to help you. For me, that's why I think Women's Day, even though we do celebrate it, I feel like it's different in that it just seems like a foreign concept, because how can you celebrate women when you're the society that's bringing them down and even killing them, and not necessarily being there to empower them and to hold others accountable for their actions? So for my own side, I respect the idea of why we have a Women's Day, to celebrate women, but personally, I mourn the day rather than celebrate, because of the fact that women are still trapped in this box, and it seems so insurmountable for them to get out of it and to be able to feel safe in this country. I find that empowerment is more of, self-recognition that you can make change in the world, and then empowerment becomes stronger with more numbers. The moment that you can see that a woman doesn't really care about, perhaps, her looks, or the fact that her relatives have this view that, oh, but you're a woman, why are you doing this, why are you not doing that, and then you resisting that. It definitely comes from within, and I personally think that it takes a lot of courage to stand up to a society that's always trying to make you smaller. And it is true that I find sometimes that men are more of the bystanders the moment. If they're not resisting it, then they just passive on the side when they do see you being empowered. I mean, I remember having a discussion about this to a friend of mine, and just asking him, how do you deal with things such as locker room talk? How do you deal with seeing, like another guy perhaps saying something to a woman that's a bit crude? And he was like, no, we recognize it, we see it, but sometimes it's easier just to take it with a pinch of salt. And I said, I know that you mean well, but at this stage, taking things like this with a pinch of salt is not saving women's lives. We need you to be a bit more active and recognize, and not necessarily be the motivation for us to be empowered, but just to support us from the sidelines, cheers on. And I think the more powerful empowerment is with a large number of women, the easier it is for the movement to be spread across and to meet different societies, different cultures as well. And I think we are in a period in history where there has been great waves of feminism, as opposed to like perhaps the 1950s, where something like that would be not tolerated at all. And it's just all about also looking at this diversity of how women empowerment is also perceived by other people in the world. So for some, it's perhaps dressing in what makes them comfortable, whatever makes them beautiful. For others, it's perhaps going to an institution to get educated. For others, it's perhaps opening their own business. So I think that the diversity of women empowerment is so great and it's so beautiful, but we just have to ensure that other people are able to recognize that and see it as more as something that is beautiful and should be embraced rather as a threat. I can definitely say that it's, for me as a 20-something-year-old woman, and seeing not only what our past leaders who are women taking a stance in trying to make a change, but also a lot of women at present who may not necessarily be in politics, but are taking strides in breaking barriers in the workplace perhaps, or university, or anything that one would not expect a woman to see. It is really comforting to see, especially like for example, firms that are primarily run by women, or businesses or anything like that. So it's I'm glad to see that this drive that was present during the time of the struggle is still being propelled now. But I feel like there's so much more room that needs to be made for more women to realize that they have the ability to rise above their circumstances, and to take a stance in what they believe in. I think with women in general, we always have been encouraged just to shy away from things that may seem controversial or political or empowering. Everyone's like, let the man handle that, that's not your place. And that's the sad part, that we expect it to be soft, gentle streams of humans, when in fact we are waterfalls. We are so powerful. And like you said, the brown community as well, I've seen a diversity as well, where like in some parts of my family, I've been very grateful to see that a lot of the women, especially my grandmother and her sisters, have been very much there, pushing us as the women in our family to always do better, to always strive for more, to take the extra leap, because they were never placed in that position when they were, young women who are my age. I've never really experienced, body shaming from the women in my family. and I've never really been, questioned about, why are you going to university? And I think also it's because also the fact that my mom also had to basically at her age fight the system and be able to go to university because it was just not really seen as a thing in our family. And um, it's not only necessarily the patriarchy that people just don't really want to fight about in the brown community. Like when the Black Lives Matter movement has been happening, I've barely really seen the brown community really engaging and standing up for that. And that's the issue also, where there's also the issue of anti-blackness in the brown community besides that. So there are so many little battles that have to be fought, and it requires open engagement. And I just think mostly it's the fear of speaking up, because there's this whole thing of what will the community say. And I feel like many brown girls have had to deal with this phrase of what will the community say. If you're maybe going out after a certain hour, what will the community say? You're wearing that, what will the community say? But flip side, you can tell that to a boy and suddenly there's silence, crickets, sounds. And I think it has to occur from the inside. You have to work and be an active participant in your own community to break down these barriers and let people know, listen, the longer you live in this bubble, the worse it's going to get for you. And you have to think about the fact that you have a generation that's coming ahead of you. Times are changing, the world is progressing. We can't be stuck in this little community that's frozen, as you said, and allow the rest of the world to go on, because society is changing, and you don't want to be attacked because you've been raised in this little circle and you perceive, the patriarchy to be the right way. And the sad thing is that this is still going on in many communities of the world. And people also, it's also the situation of ignorance as well, where it's easy just to take in what you can and just digest it, as opposed to questioning, okay, but what ifs? There's a lot of what ifs. So, and I think also people are fine with just being comfortable at that than to make a scene or to raise their voice about that. So I think even here in the South African community, not necessarily the brown community, there are many communities where people are fine with just being lukewarm, if I can put it, than to rise above the temperature and to engage and say, okay, but don't you think that's wrong? Or don't you think maybe we can do this? And I don't think it's only communities. I think even structures such as government and education, can't you, why don't we really hear too much about the women who have contributed to history and stuff in many of the educational systems? Why is it always, it was this president and he started the war, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like there has to be a reform of many things in order to make it to accommodate women empowerment.